Good morning, everyone. It's Nick Perro on the Sickest show, bringing you Wajahat Ali from the Left Hook. He and I have started to become fast friends over the last couple weeks, getting to know each other a little bit. I've been following him for a while. Everybody here knows him. He's fucking incredible. And we've got a lot to talk about because things are escalating fast in this country, escalating faster than they should be. And Stephen Miller, or the penis German over there, is the cause of a lot of it. And I want to talk to you and get your feelings on him before we go into some of the other subjects that are going around, such as Charlie Kirk, the shooting, some of the things that are coming out of it, the Groyper movement, Black Pill, shit like that. You have been digging out a lot of information, and I'd love for people to just keep fucking hearing it. So good morning, Wash.
Hey, thank you. And I just want to inform everyone, I'm not sweating profusely like Joe Rogan's nipples during the Comedy Central, his comedy show, which was terrible. I just washed my face. And look, I do think we have to, let me put it this way. Our job is to let you know that there's a comet coming. And because we're telling you there's a comet coming, it's not doom and gloom. It's like we have to warn you. You have to be eyes wide open. And the question then becomes, once you know that there's a comet coming, what do you do? And this is where people then choose apathy or cynicism or rage. But I hope throughout our conversation, we could also talk about, all right, then what are some steps? What do you do? Because for me, it's like, all right, if there's a comet coming, my job is to blow the comet out of the sky. And if there's going to be a damage and part of that comet is going to land, save as many people as possible. Now, I think stretching that analogy, what people don't like listening to, Nick, or admitting, is generational damage has already been done in the Trump administration. Generational damage. I've talked to doctors and as some experts in government. They're like, people don't realize this is not going to be snap of the fingers. If we have elections in 2026, if we have elections in 2028, a Democrat's going to come. Nope. Generational damage is done. I was old enough to live through America's failed war on terror, the 2008 economic crisis. I mean, we're talking about generational damage, or maybe even longer. Now, number two, uh, as that generation damage happens, right? Uh, it's one of those things that these movements, these fascist movements, and I think it's time for everyone to use the word fascist, just like I was, and authoritarian, like others have been. And you had Bill Kristol today. Who would have thought, Nick, that friggin' neocon warmonger Bill Kristol would have gone more woke than most Democrats? He's talking about abolish ICE. He came today and said it's fascism. The last thing I'll say is when Adolf Hitler, when he came to power through his Reichstag fire moment, I think this is the Reichstag fire, we'll break it down for your audience. He said, the Reich will last for 1,000 years. It lasted for 12. He died like a coward in the bunker. But before he died, the damage that he unleashed. And so this is a house of cards that's about to collapse. It's going to collapse on Trump's base. And this is where there's some hope. He is not that popular. I want to repeat this. Trump is not that popular, Nick. He has not cracked 50% ever. His Latino base that went for him in 2024, many of them just wanted a better life, gone. The young people who just wanted a better life, gone. He's underwater, negative double digits on the economy, underwater on immigration. Epstein is not going away. And furthermore, folks, we could talk about this later because I'm a masochist. I've been in this space. You don't have to. Uh, there are fissures in MAGA. Candace Owens is on a warpath. Tucker Carlson went against Pam Bondi. Cat Turd is pissed off. They're fissures. They're fissures that are already being exploited. It's a Julius Caesar moment. People know he's going to die. JD Vance is trying to step in. They're going to eat each other alive, and the economy is about to go to shit. And this is a big country. It's a country of 340 million people. It's expansive country, and there are a lot of guns in this country. And I think if the National Guard and the military are now asked to literally crack their neighbors' skulls, and they see violence, it's going to be violence. And once that violence is televised, a lot of these folks who vote for Trump, they're not hardcore enough. Many of them are just freaking cosplayers. Once they realize, oh shit, what's been unleashed, and oh shit, billionaires have used a culture war to drink all my milkshake. Uh, with it, America, what Nick and I were talking about, it takes a long ass time, but it took this country 8 years to finally realize, oh, George W. Bush is a moron. Oh my God, I have no house anymore. Oh, look, what happened with Katrina? Oh, look, dead U.S. soldiers coming back. Yeah, let's vote for this black guy. Sorry, Nick, that was my little rant
No,
there.
I love it. I love it. I want you to get on these rants because that's why I bring you on. That's why I want to get your input on all of this because I can talk about what I know, but you know of a hell of a lot more than I do in these spaces right now. because I'm still newer in this space. And the more we can all learn, the more we can get out, the more information we can get out faster. Like, if I don't know, how can I help? And so that's why we're learning. That's why everybody's coming on. We've got what, almost 400 people here already. Like,
There'll be more.
there'll
More
be
will
more.
come.
Let's fucking keep going, guys. Smash the heart, share it. Let's get up to 1,000 before the 30-minute mark, so that we can get as many voices out as we can and talk about all this shit. The first part I do want to talk about is Stephen Miller, though, because
Sure.
unlike the folks who are not hardcore, or who would not condone violence once it actually starts happening, once bloodshed starts happening and things like that, like if the right escalates further, or when the right escalates further and goes towards more violence, and folks see what's happening, the National Guard folks, I predict, just like you, a lot of them are going to stand down. They don't want to
Yeah.
shoot their neighbors, but Stephen Miller won't. Can you talk about him and his shadow presidency that's going on right now?
Yes. Stephen Miller is the shadow president. Stephen Miller has unprecedented power. He is the most powerful unelected official on earth. Stephen Miller is the only person who has remained like a cockroach for the past 10 years. Everyone thinks he's a freak, but Donald Trump values his loyalty. He's extremely efficient and effective in implementing what has been his wet dream since he was in ninth grade. Stephen Miller is dyed in the wool, hardcore white nationalist crusader, a soldier who's willing to die on the battlefield. He wakes up, thinks about this, breathes about this, sleeps about this. I mean, I want people to realize it. He's all in. For Stephen Miller, even though he's the son of wealthy, upper middle class liberal Jews, he got radicalized somewhere around ninth grade. And his friends said, once they moved to Santa Monica in particular, over the summer, he comes back and says, "You're Latino, you can't be my friend anymore." Furthermore, he was mentored by two just despicable people on the right. One of them, who died and was a massive Islamophobe, David Horowitz, who was also Jewish, as a high schooler, he used to reach out to David Horowitz and be like, I want to be a soldier in the army. And another person was a black conservative, Larry Elder, just to let you know that white supremacy doesn't mean that you have to be white. We all have chickens for Colonel Sanders in our communities, right? So he's been at it, right? And Duke, he used to run Islamofascism Awareness Week. Richard Spencer, the Nazi that no one talks about, was a bit older, literally Nazi folks, and said, oh, he mentored Stephen Miller. So Stephen Miller, once he graduates, he goes to the Hill. And he wants to find that vehicle, that avatar, that means that can help him achieve his agenda of cracking down on immigration, making America white again. Stephen Miller loves the Immigration Act of 1924 that essentially banned foreign visas, visitors from, immigrants from Eastern Europe and all through Asia. He hates the Immigration Act of 1965, which was on the heels of the Civil Rights Movement that finally undid the racist and restrictive and illegal national quotas that were put in place. So, what the white nationalists did at the time, people don't realize in the Immigration Act of 1965, because Democrats didn't want to do it, but they're like, shit, the Civil Rights Act, fine, we'll finally do this, is Democrats and Republicans tried to poison pill it with these requirements. If you have a family here, you'll get priority, family reunification. Or if you're like a student or have qualities and skills that'll help America, right? Like people who are, college students or people who can H-1B visas, workers. They thought white people would come, Nick. What happened? Asians and Latinos took advantage of it, like my family. Stephen Miller says that's the worst thing that happened to America in the 20th century. So he works with Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions was Donald Trump's first attorney general. Jeff Sessions aligned himself with hardcore, straight up like racist, bigoted immigration groups, right? Stephen Miller worked for Jeff Sessions. Everyone thought he was a freak. They used to make fun of him. They're like, this guy is like creepy. They used to like spread rumors about him. He uses Jeff Sessions to get to Donald Trump, right? Jeff Sessions was the first attorney general, and Stephen Miller has kept his head down, said yes to Donald Trump, and slowly but surely ingratiated himself. Um, he stuck around. He was one of the architects of the Muslim ban, right? He learned from the last 10 years. Now, in the second go around, he's the last remaining member. He's like the last man standing. And Trump is old, aged, decaying. It's tired, falling asleep. He's not doing well, and he's disinterested. He's just grifting. Uh, and he's using grievance and going after everyone. Right? Stephen Miller apparently is the shadow president, and the other one they say is Russell Vought, the co-author of Project 2025. It's all Project 2025 is like 50% done, folks. And he's Russell Vought is a Christian nationalist. Stephen Miller isn't a Christian nationalist. He is an out and out white nationalist. And right now they're saying Stephen Miller is in fact the head of Homeland Security, not Christian Noem. He's the head of Department of Defense, not Kekseth. And he's the head of these agencies right now that are essentially under his control. National Guard, it was him. Unleashing ICE, it's him. Trying to undo a habeas corpus, it's him. Saying we're under invasion and we could do the Insurrection Act, it's him. Even Signalgate. If you saw the Signalgate messages, there's this one message from the White House where even JD Vance is like, I think we should wait on striking in Yemen. And he goes, the White House is saying we do it now. That's Stephen Miller. All right.
Yeah.
So this and the vision of Stephen Miller, and I'll end it this way: a book that Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon have openly promoted. Right? People say, "Well, what's a book we should read?" The book Steve Bannon openly tells people to read is like he says, "This is the book to understand this moment." Is this 1980s white nationalist French novel called Camp of the Saints? And Camp of the Saints, along with Turner Diaries, is now one of the foundational fictional texts of white supremacists. And the novel, the dystopian novel Camp of the Saints, written in French, warns of a future in which a brown horde that eats shit takes over Europe. That's the book that Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon recommend.
Well, that's fucking that's a terrible image. What I call all of that, it's called eagle jizz.
Are you drinking Eagle Jizz?
No, I do not put eagle jizz into my coffee. It is very white and sticky, and it tends to come from people like Stephen Miller, Steve Bannon, Russell Vought, J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, Pete Kegsbreath. He's a taint and he fucking sucks. And I'd love to talk about how Stephen Miller is using the Department of Defense, because I will not, I'm going to dead name it. I'm not going to call it that. It's a $2 billion waste of fucking money. If they don't respect trans people's rights, I'm not going to respect their right to keep fucking changing names on things without anybody asking, without anybody's permission, without even looking into that. Like Duffel Blog is fucking putting out some amazing headlines. I'm an army guy. I'm a veteran. There's a website, if nobody knows it, is Duffel Blog. Go to it, duffelblog.com. It is a comedy website. It's the army, or it's the military's version of the Onion.
Duffel Blog?
Duffel Blog, Duffel blog.com. They are the army's version or the military's version of the Onion. They put out some of the best fucking headlines there are, and they're almost not satirical anymore because they're so close to truth, which fucking sucks. I want to go back to when the Onion was satirical and not hurting us, but it is a great site to get things. They were talking about the Pentagon changed its name without anybody's approval, and they're trying to department who's kicking out trans people is trying to change its name. Nobody is going to respect them, even though they're demanding it. And it's just like, fuck you, Department of Defense. You can't do this. You don't
You
get
know,
to do it.
you're a veteran, Nick. I'm really curious because, well, let me put it this way. I think I mentioned this last time I was on your show, and I feel it now even more because I'm telling people to trust the evidence of their eyes and their ears. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to Nick. Just trust the evidence of your eyes and what you're listening to with your ears. I've been saying for a while, for anyone who's been following me, and if you haven't, hey, Trump's and Stephen Miller's endgame is martial law. Now, what do I mean by that? I've been saying that Charlie Kirk's murder is their Reichstag fire moment. For those who don't know, the Reichstag was a German parliament building that burned down mysteriously in 1933. They blamed a communist. They convicted a communist. But at that time, and even since then, everyone said, hey, it seemed like an inside job. And it seemed like other people were doing it. We don't know. Regardless, it was an emergency that the Nazis then used to consolidate power. And Germany freaked out and literally hand-delivered Adolf Hitler a dictatorship. So Nazis used that to declare martial law. They immediately cracked down on civil liberties. They made and elevated, if you will, Hitler into a dictator. And voila, that was the beginning of Hitler's dictatorship for the next 12 years. I've been saying that Trump has been trying to find his Reichstag fire moment. It is the murder of Charlie Kirk done by a white guy who wasn't Antifa. Oh, but no one cares because we're dealing with the worst faith people in the world. Stephen Miller has openly used the word invasion. He's openly said that he can invoke the Alien Enemies Act. That was the rare time the Supreme Court went against Donald Trump. And he also used the word insurrection. Insurrection Act, allowing Donald Trump, right, during moments of crisis and actual insurrection to deploy the military and National Guard against the American people. He's already doing that, folks. He has already passed the big, beautiful bill. Now there's going to be 10,000 ICE agents. They've lowered the restrictions to get into ICE and the FBI. So they're just looking for Gestapo brown shirts,
Anybody off the street.
literally anybody off the street who wants to bash liberal skulls. They have now created such a toxic environment that anybody who disagrees with them is the left. Anybody that you've seen in the past week. It's a great way to just make an enemy. Last night, Donald Trump, he can't do this, but that's why we were telling people you should pay attention to Venezuela. He then declared Antifa as a major terrorist organization. And there's no such thing as he can't. There's no such thing as a major terrorist organization. He can unilaterally do that. And plus, what does he mean? Doesn't matter what he means. Much like when he bombed Venezuela, he was testing the waters. Can I just unilaterally, extrajudicially kill 11 brown people and say that there were drug traffickers? I can. Awesome. And then what I think we mentioned this last time, but I was saying this on Left Hook. Wait, folks, this is him testing if he can designate anyone as an enemy. So you and me, anybody who's opposed to them, is now Antifa. That's what's going to happen. If we're terrorists, the president has just established the president. He could just kill terrorists, kill them, crush them, disappear them, send them to CCOT, right? It seems very clear that he's desperate, which is why he's trying to gerrymander and demanding Republicans gerrymander. He's desperate, which is why he's going after mail-in voting. He's desperate, which is why he's unleashed the National Guard. He's desperate because the economy sucks. Epstein is causing fissures in MAGA. The MAGA, we could talk about this in a second, does not buy the FBI Kash Patel narrative. There's fissures there. And he's old. The people around him, Nick, they realize their king and daddy is dying. So they're like, okay, if the right wing can get as much power as possible, then we could transfer it to a puppet, JD Vance. I don't think it's going to work out that well. So what's going to happen, I think sooner than later, and I think they've put everything into overdrive because they realize daddy's not going to last that long. So I think what you're seeing is Project 2025 on steroids. He's ramping it up. I was going to say by 2028. I think it's out in the next 6 months. Before the 2026 midterms, as things go shit and things are going really bad, and he knows it. This is a sign of weakness, folks. I want people to understand that this is a weak president who's insecure and unsure about his power. This is what they do, an authoritarian power grab. They're going to say the following. America is being invaded right now. There are hostile forces making it less safe. The radical left has teamed up with immigrants, drug dealers, and Antifa. They killed Charlie Kirk. They beat up Big Balls, 19-year-old Doge member. They're coming after all of us. By the power vested in me, I'm going to declare martial law. Don't worry, the elections will come back once I crush Antifa. I'll make you safe again. He's never going to leave. That's my prediction.
I agree. I agree. That's always been the end game. Like that has been the end game for a long time. And Project 2025, like you keep bringing up, it was a 4-year document that they've condensed down to a year. Like they're so sure of themselves that they have condensed down their efforts because they've been able to get as much done as they can within. They've done 3 years of work in 3/4 of a year. Like
Basically.
not even. So like let's pretend that they're actually on track and ahead of schedule. We need to fucking be more ahead of schedule, which is the problem. So we've got, like you just said, Stephen Miller cracking down on whatever the fuck Antifa is, which I guess you're spitting on the face of my grandparents who fought in World War II, who were anti-fascist because we fought the Nazis and we beat them. How about all the other people's families who were here during World War II who fought the Nazis? How about all of us Jewish people who have families who died during the original Holocaust? Now a second one being perpetrated by the Israeli state against the Palestinian people. If you don't agree with me, read Qasim Rashid's piece that he put out this morning about it. It's fucking powerful and it lays it out.
And Bernie Sanders yesterday came out and finally said it. He said it's a genocide. That's huge.
And that's huge. And we need to be pushing things like APAC money out. We need to be pushing things like Stephen Miller out. We need to be pushing things like Russell Vought out, reminding people of Project 2025 and all the shit that's going on. The fact that we have a new Epstein name that just came out
Oh, that's a huge
from
thing that came out yesterday.
that came out yesterday. I want to get back to that point here in a minute, but I want to keep focusing on the Stephen Miller and what's going on, especially in Venezuela, as they keep provoking the Venezuelans to try and um, instigate them into firing back at us, so that we can say, "Oh no, we've been shot on. Now we must go to war," even though it's our fucking fault and everybody can see it, and it's a manufactured war. How do you see Stephen Miller as a hand in that, or do you see him as the overarching factor in that?
I think when people say he's a shadow president, I think the reason why I try to tell people more and more about Stephen Miller is I think when people are trying to understand what's happening, the end game and the ideology, understand Stephen Miller. Donald Trump right now has spent 20% of his presidency golfing. He's fallen asleep most of it. Look, I'll give you an example. You have Donald Trump on camera, literally signing executive orders saying, "What's this about?" What? On camera. All right. He's only taken, I think, 12 to 14 security briefings, and then he just stopped. He goes, "I don't give a shit anymore."
And
Um,
they were in images. Like the dude can't
but he
fucking
stopped.
read. They're
Now
doing
he stopped.
crayons and images.
That's a commander in chief. Just doesn't give a shit. He's making crypto deals and he's bullying people, threatening people, extorting people, and he's on for the rest of his life. He's on Festivus tour. Um, Stephen Miller, he's the guy on doing this, and so the whole crackdown of the National Guard, according to the Wall Street Journal, was Stephen Miller. He's the one that wants quotas. He's the one on the phones, like saying, "Go harder." He's the ones, according to the Rolling Stones report, that is on everyone's ass about not getting the job done. Everyone's terrified of him. They're terrified of Trump. Trump doesn't know shit. He doesn't know what's happening. He just kind of, he repeats what's the last thing in his ear. Or if Stephen Miller and other people say this will help you get power and attack your enemies and make you money, he goes, okay. So you really need to understand Stephen Miller and I think Project 2025 to really understand where this country's going. This country's going. What Stephen Miller wants is to go back to 1952 before Brown versus Board of Education. Others in this country want to go back to 1862. Um, Pete Hegseth openly, and no reporters asked him, why did you approvingly tweet that CNN segment on the Christ Church, which is your church, in which the people said that they should repeal the 19th Amendment and women are belong to men, and this should be a Christian nation, and there's no such thing as separation of church and state. That's a church Pete Hegseth belongs to, right? But nobody asks because this media sucks. And furthermore, what we're going to witness is Russia and Hungary. Russia and Hungary, you have an authoritarian leader, and his oligarchy brothers then end up gobbling up all of media and the resources, right? And now you're seeing David Ellison, Nepo baby, the Nepo baby son of Larry Ellison, one of the world's richest, horrible Trumper, far right Zionist people who thinks he doesn't deserve to die. That's Larry Ellison. He wants to live forever like the Pharaoh. David Ellison runs Paramount. Paramount paid off Trump to make the merger go through with Skydance. Now they own Skydance. David Ellison's daddy, Larry Ellison, a couple of days ago, I think a big alarm fire that people didn't pay attention to. Wall Street Journal is reporting Larry Ellison is making a bid for TikTok and Warner Brothers Discovery. Now people say, well, what does that mean, folks? Warner Brothers Discovery runs Warner Brothers, Discovery, CNN, HBO. CBS Paramount, which they already own, has CBS, Paramount, Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, MTV. So all of these folks now own just own this much media, consolidated around Hungary and around Russia. It's the same thing that's happened. India, it's the same thing that's happened. These are more authoritarian regimes. India, you have a fascistic leader. And then even Erdogan, this is what happened in Turkey, right? So the billionaires, if you see that movie, There Will Be Blood, it's that scene in the end where Daniel Day-Lewis goes, I drink your milkshake, right? This is them drinking all of our milkshake, and MAGA never realizes, because it goes back to the Southern strategy. You give them an enemy, you give them someone to kick down, like Lyndon B. Johnson's famous quote, give a white man a black man to look down on, and you could take the money out of his pocket. That's what's happening right now. They're doing left versus right. us versus the left, and MAGA's voluntarily giving up all their freedoms to own the libs, not realizing billionaires are screwing them and us and gobbling up their money, their freedoms, their healthcare, and next their pensions. So when will they find out, Nick? America is, we live in the United States of amnesia and we learn the hard way. It's going to take, it's going to be painful, man.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot because you just said a bunch of networks and broadcasting channels that people probably pay for still. You should probably stop paying for them if they're going to do it. If they threaten to do it, guess what? The Daily Show is gone. Like they want the Daily Show gone, it's gone. John Oliver's off the air. They want anything gone at this point, it's off the air. You know why? Because it's project, not only is it Project 2025, but it's more insidious behind that, is it's the Seven Mountain Mandates and it's dominionism. It is a regressive view on the world of these, as I have started calling them a little bit, are Abrahamic fascists, because it encompasses all of these fuckheads. It's the Jewish fascist of Bibi Netanyahu. It's the Jewish fascist of Stephen Miller. It's the Christo fascist of Pete Hegseth and Russell Vought. It's the Catholic fascist of J.D. Vance and that entire side of the wings. There's so many flavors of fascism. And I get, yeah, they're all white nationalists, they're all white supremacists too, but they're Abrahamic fascists. They're killing off and they're using their Abrahamic background as Jewish members and as Christian members and as Catholic members to fucking kill people. It's dominionism. It is a apocalyptic cult. They are trying to kill all of us. They want a white nation of Christo-fascists who live in a theonomy, not a theology, a theonomy, which is a Christian-only theocracy that is taken over from the inside, where they merge civil law or God's ancient Israeli laws, which is why they're Abrahamic, because it's ancient Israel. They want to merge those laws into civil laws and then take over. So I think all of this, well, people ask in the chat, do we think we'll have a civil war? We haven't been shy about saying we think there's going to be violence that is coming. I am not advocating for any of it.
Of course not.
Neither of us are. Neither of us are. Peacefully and patriotically at all times until the end, unless we have no other option. You will hear literally every veteran who is out here, who is on Substack, who I have spoken with, people like Fred Wellman, people like Chris Goldsmith, Ken Harbaugh, Bobby Jones, they all say the same. Peaceful, patriotic. Yes, it covers Islamofascists too, but Islamofascists aren't the ones fucking attacking America right now. Like, let's talk about the real threat and don't fucking come in here with your bigoted hatred towards people in
Well,
Islam for no fucking
and,
reason. They didn't do
and,
anything here.
and then the last 10 years, well, let's talk about it. I'm old
Well,
enough to
in this
remember that
case,
during
just to
America's
interrupt,
war, go ahead.
this is a white person problem. This is not a other person problem. Like, we are the fucking cause of this. So go ahead, Wash.
Yeah, no, what I was saying is in the last 10 years, the GOAT of domestic terrorism, and this is according to the Cato Institute, that flaming liberal institute, Cato Institute, the government study that they scrubbed literally 2 days ago. I mean, to talk about like being unsettled, the DOJ scrubbed the study that shows the number one source of domestic terrorism in the last 10 years is right-wing extremism. Why did they scrub it, folks? Exactly. They don't want to confront it. And furthermore, they haven't wanted to confront it since 2009, when there was a DHS official who tried to warn. And then the right wing at that time in 2009, the man's name was Daryl Johnson. Go look it up. He said, hey, man, there's a problem with radical right-wing extremism at this time in 2009, and Republicans got him kicked out and shelved that DHS report and study because they realized it would make them look bad. Democrats at the time, because they're weak and pathetic, should have gone all out on it, but they were trying to pass Obamacare. So like, okay. The Democrats are huge. When you have coward fighters, this is what happens, right? Merrick Garland. But I digress. This has been a problem long coming. But however, in the past 10 years, since 2015, who emerged around that time? What got mainstreamed? I wonder. The GOAT of domestic terrorism has been radical right-wing extremism and white supremacists in terms of incidents and violence. Nothing comes close. Now, there is also left-wing violence and Islamic or violent Muslim extremism, but nothing comes close. Nothing. Mitt Romney, 2 years ago, when he was coming out with his biography, openly said that he had to buy security for himself. And he said the threat was Republicans. He furthermore said that his Republican colleagues in Congress were terrified of right wing violence. Okay. So, right now, this is a problem of white supremacy, of white nationalism, not exclusively, but like majorly. And you have to realize this administration has never, ever, ever mentioned the word white supremacist terrorism, white nationalism. In fact, when everyone in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's murder was like, well, actually, wow, look at this. Look at this data. They scrubbed it. So if it was Muslims, we lived through the war on terror. You know what they would have done if Tyler Robinson was Muslim? They would have hounded the parents, gone to the mosque, gone to the imam. Every Muslim, Mehdi Hassan, Mir Qasim, would have been asked to go and condemn violent acts done by violent people we never met. There'd be hearings, there'd be surveillance, it'd be in the news forever. Once they found out it was a white Christian dude, no one bothers the parents. No one talks about the culture. No one talks about the upbringing. What type of household had photos with kids with guns from the age of 3? Who was his pastor? What's happening in the Mormon church? What books did he read? Notice that? Gone. And then Nancy Mace was like, oh, poor Tyler, if he had only met Charlie Kirk and maybe prayed for, he would have prayed for her, right? Then it became Carrie Lake saying, oh, it wasn't Tyler's fault. It was colleges, that one semester he took at trade college. So it's a double standard. And this is where, Nick, you said something that I said this to Francesca yesterday, even though let me explain, tongue in cheek. I said, Francesca, listen, let white people figure this shit out. Let them fight against each other. Everyone else, put your head down, take care of your family, make money, take care of your kids, thrive, be safe. These whites, they've had to have this fight. This is an unresolved fight from the Civil War. Obviously, it affects all of us, so we can't just peace out. But I do think in this one, I do think the whites have to lead. I think the whites have to put their bodies on the line. I think they're going to ones who have to use their privilege. I think they're the ones who have to speak out. I think black and brown skulls shouldn't be the only ones that are cracked. Inshallah, no skulls are cracked. And you're seeing this, Nick, with the No Kings rally. A lot of old white people were like, I'm at the last leg of my life. I didn't live my life in March for women to have rights and for black people to have rights and for integration for this shit. So you're going to need the whites to really step up.
Yeah, no, totally agree on that. And one of the things you just said was an organization to follow and get involved with is on October 18th is the next No Kings major rally. If you're not there, what else are you doing? Like, what else have you got going on that's more important than saving the fucking democracy that we rely on and constitutional order that we rely on to actually let you have a fucking job and life and live the way you want? Like, white people, you don't think this fucking affects you? It does. Arkansas has cracked down on teachers. They have been firing teachers all over the state. Yesterday, the attorney general announced that they were going to label Fayetteville as a sanctuary city because the mayor spoke and said something and then corrected herself that it was not. And I say herself for a reason because it's always Black people, people of color, and women that they're going after is she corrected herself because Arkansas has this backward ass law that says policy, official or unofficial, if it's about limiting like ICE or things like that, you will be deemed as a sanctuary city. Well, that means state funding doesn't go to this city. Do you know where the University of Arkansas is? Fayetteville, the fucking main University of Arkansas, where the Razorbacks play out of, the best team in Arkansas, the biggest name in football in Arkansas, the biggest school fucking in Arkansas, where most of our state kids go to school and get a great education out of, where they actually teach doctors and shit like that. You know what? They're not going to get fucking state funding because the state wants to punish a mayor who clarified themselves and then wrote a damn letter saying they didn't do anything and that they were clearly not saying ICE cannot be here. That is a white people problem. That is why we need to be out on the streets for No King's Day, fucking protesting our asses off. And if you see a riot, if you see someone inciting violence, you put that shit down. You stop it. You end it. You use your body and the other bodies of people around you. I'm a disabled vet and I would do that. If you can't do that, like, come on, folks. It's our fucking problem we have to deal with. If there is a fight that is breaking out, you stop it. If people are rioting, you stop it. You go to these rallies, you wear American flags, you bring your American flag, you bring extra American flags for other people, but you also bring your pride that you're caring about too. But it's not as much about the smaller communities right now because white people, we need to take patriotism back.
Yeah,
And that helps spread.
and also, and people might not like hearing this, but this is the reality. And I'm saying this as a person of color, as a Muslim. White lives matter more in America. White voices matter more in America. White grievances matter more in America. When white people are upset, shit gets done. And so I was telling a couple of friends yesterday, now that they've gone after, they meaning fascists and the Trump administration and corporations included, are going after powerful whites. Now that they're going after powerful whites, I'm really curious if two things will happen. Number one, will white people say, "What the hell? You were just going after the Palestinians and the undocumented and the Muslims and the blacks. That was fine. Now you're going after Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and, university professors. Oh my God, my whiteness and my wealth doesn't protect me." Will that inspire more white people to finally wake up, or will white people cow down, and bow down and be silent? I don't know. I
I
think
don't
the
know.
former. I think the former, and the reason why I think the former in a hopeful way is Donald Trump is not popular. Donald Trump has gone underwater. Donald Trump's policies are horrible. The economy is terrible. He has lied. He's not America first. He's bombing like people left and right. Um, Epstein files, over 80% of Americans still want the release of the Epstein files. It's the only bipartisan issue in America. And it hasn't gone away. Like you said, huge news item came yesterday. Julie Brown in the Miami Herald dropped like these names of very influential people. The FBI says they have the names of very influential people. And what they're going to do is release all the names, but not Donald Trump's. It's not going to be enough. The base wants everything, right? Because they radicalized the base. And so this is a situation in which will white folks step up? I think they will. Once the economy tanks even further, Epstein files, Donald Trump's health, and what they've also done, this is the mistake of MAGA, right? Well, the one positive that we have is they're very incompetent. Let me repeat this. They're very incompetent. They're reckless. They're incompetent. They're egotistical. They turn on each other. And that's kind of a blessing because what they've done, even like, have you noticed everything they've done is overreach? Like Stephen Miller
Yeah.
is like that guy from Family Guy. He's like giggity. He's like a fascist giggity. He's like giggity, giggity. Ooh. Like instead of just being patient and waiting 4 years and like slowly killing us, right? He's like, oh, power. Ooh. And so even Charlie Kirk, right, use the Ragstack fire and roll out your plan. But they went too far. First and foremost, most normies have no idea who Charlie Kirk is. My wife had no idea. Family members have no idea. So then they're like, oh, literally, my wife said, Nick, he must have been like a humanitarian because he got a bigger send off than friggin' Jimmy Carter and the Pope. And then she read about him. She goes, oh my God, this man is so hateful. So most normies who read about him are like, this guy's a freak. Now, they're using him as a martyr to crush everyone else. So there's going to be a lot of white seniors who are going to turn on TV and like, I want to watch my Jimmy. They know Jimmy. More people know Jimmy Kimmel than Chris Kirk. And on Friday, they're going to see a 1 hour like pageantry and hagiography of Charlie Kirk. They're like, what the hell is this? Right? So the fact that they're using such an unpopular person to crush the rest of us is going to inspire more anger. What they've also done is they've gone after teachers. They're going after celebrities, right? They use this as a ragtag fire. The unleashing of the National Guard, which is why he lost all his Latino support. It's gone back to 2016 numbers. The trade war, the tariffs, everything's more expensive. He lost all the young people who wanted to change. So this is overreach by the world's most reckless, racist, incompetent people, which doesn't mean it's not scary. It's hella scary. But again, I want to go back to America's a big country, folks. There's 340 million people here. He has never cracked 50. His most was 49. He barely lost to Kamala Harris, even with the infusion of hundreds of $1 millions in Elon Musk. He lost by 1.4 points. And I do think this house of cards will crumble. The negative is, as it crumbles, how many innocent people get buried under the rubble?
Yeah. And that's our goal here is to have as few people buried under the rubble as possible, which is why I keep talking about this shit and I'm so vocal about it. It's why my friends and I on Banner and Backbone keep talking about it. It's why you see those of us who are white being really upset about this shit because we need to. We need to speak loudly because it cannot be we as the Democratic side of the political spectrum, white men, and I'm going to speak for just white men and right now. White men have sat back and let black women and Muslims and black men and any minority take the reins and just sit back and go, yeah, it's cool. They got this. Well, guess what, guys? It's our fucking turn to step back up and not take the reins from them, but actually fucking help people. Like,
Yeah.
take the reins with them and lead the charge with them, not behind them, beside them, and ahead of them. Because if we don't lead, why are they going to help? Why would minorities want to help us if we're so unwilling to help them? Why are people who are like us, citizens, normal folk who make too little money, who need to feed their kids, who need to be able to afford medical bills, who need to be able to afford school and education and things like that? Why are we fighting each other? Like,
And
we need
did
to
you see?
stand with each other.
I agree. And look at this news that just came out. And look, you ever read the Old Testament? You ever read the Quran? Even if you haven't, these stories, just suppose you don't believe in these things. That's fine. This is stories. The stories have stuck around. The stories are always the same, where human beings are given warnings, like clear warnings, like literally prophets are sent, like literally there's like miracles and like just
Hmm.
the stuff that makes the frogs dropping from the sky. And it's like, hey, Pharaoh, don't be oppressive. Blood in the water, locusts, newborns dying, right? Just, just don't maybe worship a golden calf and do an orgy. Let Moses come back. Give Moses 40 days to come back. And if he's not back by the 41st day, then orgy it up. And then human beings are like, oh, we just saw all these miracles. We just got saved from the Pharaoh. The Red Sea swallowed him up. Moses isn't back. It's been 40 days. Orgy time. All right. Like Noah. Noah,
Melt the gold.
here's a crazy old man building a ship. He's so silly. He's been warning about a flood. Silly old man. Oh, look, he built a ship. The ship's big. Oh, look, there's lions and mosquitoes and flies all in the boat. Oh, look, the water's coming. The water's to my ankles. Noah's like, you want to get on the ship? I'm good, Noah. Water's to my knees. Time to get on the ship. I'm good, you freak. Water's to the waist. You want to come on the ship? Shut up, you lib. Water's to the neck. Hey, you want to come on the ship now and save yourself? Quiet, you libtard homo. Like literally, they're drowning. Like, I think I can swim. And then they die, right? So you literally, the reason why I'm saying this is breaking news just came out that CDC advisors are now scrutinizing vaccines given during presidency, meaning that RFK appointed vaccine panel will announce it will revisit immunizations given in pregnancy. What does that mean? That means babies are going to get preventable diseases and die. Measles, Dr. Monera's yesterday, polio is going to come back. She said polio is going to come back. Measles has already spiked. We take the MMR vaccines we used to, measles, mumps, rubella. This is a pro-death cult, Nick. And the
Yeah.
thing is, a lot of people are going to die. You're not going to win over MAGA. Don't think about winning over MAGA. MAGA's lost. But within MAGA, I think you're going to lose 5 to 10%, and they can't afford it. And there's a lot of people who are independent and apathetic. Once they see a baby die, family members die, and then the collapse of the economy, people getting crushed, people being beaten up, people being shot, neighbors being friggin' sent to CCOT. You add all this up, Nick, it's they don't have the numbers.
No, and it's that old saying of after America has exhausted all other options, they will finally do the right thing. And
Yeah,
we're going to finally get there, and it's going to fucking hurt. Like, people have to realize, like,
gonna
Waj, what
hurt.
you're talking about is so true. Yesterday, my friends broke the golden cap moment. Melissa Corrigan was in DC while it was getting set up and talked to the folks who were setting it up. And they were broadcasting it on my friend Lawrence Winterman and Dana Dubois' show, Gen Xy, their daily whatever, live broadcast about it. And we put it up. They're doing a literal golden calf moment, and the irony is fucking dead with these people. Like, there is no irony because they're engineering the plague. They're
Yeah, no,
bringing it back.
actually,
Like, I immediately posted, I was like, have you guys not read the Bible? Like, I'm
Mhm.
not religious and I knew what happened. Like, I know what happens after the golden calf. Everybody died in a plague.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
everybody who worshiped it died.
Yeah, it's a human nature, right? Because you don't have to be religious, but these stories have stuck around for thousands of years, right? It's in the Quran too. The Quran believes the same stories of Moses and Noah, and you're like, there's a great saying in the Quran, which is it's very rarely throughout time man has been in a state of loss, and it's like a reboot. You literally see story after story. COVID, Nick, COVID. Who literally they're dying. Literally, they're dying for Trump. I don't have stupid COVID. I don't have COVID. That's a hoax. Bill Gates is don't give me medicine. Bill Gates is gonna cut. Like literally, there's this book, "Dying of Whiteness," where Jonathan Metzl came out years ago. People should really read it. It's a research. He's a academic who did the numbers, and he went around the South where he lives, and literally there were Trumpers who said and Republicans who said, "Excuse me, I'd rather die than take Obamacare," and they died. So this is a situation, Nick, where I believe everyone's trying to win over Chet, the MAGA voter who lives in the Rust Belt and drinks real coffee in the real diner. You can't win them over. We've lost 30% of. We've lost them. Now, that doesn't mean give up on them. If they come back, they come back. Well, you concentrate on the 70%. That's what I'm saying. Organize the 70. There's more of us. And I think all these corporations, because they're all cowards, and or they're complicit with Trump's endgame, like Ellison, right? If they just stood their ground, they could repel it. Like ABC News already paid a bullshit lawsuit which it could have won. George Stephanopoulos did nothing wrong. They already paid off Trump with millions of dollars. What happened? Did it placate the bully, or did it make the bully more hungry? Bully came back. Qatar gave him $400 million. Did it save Qatar from being bombed by Israel? Nope. So this is a situation, folks. Is if you keep feeding the bully keeps coming back and taking more. One day the bully comes for a quarter, says, "Oh, this coward gave me a quarter. I'll go back for 50 cents. Coward gave me 50 cents, $1. I'll get $5. Voracious appetite." So you have to stand up, and courage, like hope, is contagious. If there's one person who stands up to the bully, that inspires another person and another person, another person. So I do hope, and I'm really curious how this plays out, Nick. Jimmy Kimmel is very popular in Hollywood, very well liked in Hollywood, has a lot of friends, came from the Man Show, knows Adam Carolla and all those guys, right? Uh, I'm very curious to see these pieces of shit Joe Rogan manosphere comedians. They're all about free speech, free speech, free speech. The Andrew Schultz and all these guys. Let's see what they do. I don't have any faith in them. But if comedians speak up, and the artistic community speaks up, you need every single vector of society to speak up. And I know, like, we don't really give a shit about these people because most of them suck. But I do want to remember that Hollywood had a huge role to play against defeating McCarthyism and going up against the House of Un-American Activities.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing you just said is the solidarity piece. People keep asking, like, what can we do? What can we do? How can we help? Like, what else can we do? Well, one, call Ken Martin, call the DNC, tell them to fucking do something. Tell them to use all that money that we've given them over the years and fucking do something. If you went to college, call your university, tell them to use their endowment to go fucking help, to do something, to stand up and tell them not to do like this shit. Harvard has $1 billion fucking endowment, or more. They're good. They can help. Like, tell your alma maters, tell your representatives. If you're in a Democratic district, call your fucking representative too. Tell them to fight harder. Tell them to fight louder. Tell them to do more. Tell them to obstruct. Tell them to shut the fucking government down and not fund it here soon. Because if we don't fund the government, ICE doesn't get money and they can't give bonuses out. And poor little guy who was running through ICE, guess what? He ain't going to work if they're on layoff, if they're on furlough. Do you think these assholes are going to go work for free? Even the most hateful of these people need money. Even these people who who want to fucking hurt the most people, hurt them where it counts the most. Take their paycheck away too. Do it. Do it. But
Shut it
come on.
down. Shut
Fucking
everything
Republicans have been
down.
doing it for years. Fucking play dirty. It's the end of democracy, or it's you just do
Shut it
something.
down.
Like
Shut it
try.
down. Why fund the government? Why? F them.
Yeah.
Oh, we dare you. The Republicans are daring Democrats to shut it down. All right, shut it down. It's
Yeah,
going to be
shut
on
it
you.
down.
Yeah, House is run by you. Senate's run by you. Trump is your dictator king and daddy. Everyone hates him. Shut it down and make a list. Make a reasonable list of all these mainstream issues that the majority of people rally behind. Get the National Guard off the streets, right? Bring back X, Y, and Z. Blah 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 blah.
Red flag laws for guns, things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, gun control, a red flag laws for the Charlie Kirk bill, red
Yep,
flag laws for guns, right? Bring back the Department of Education, right? Ensure you fund Medicaid again, like really popular stuff. Make a list of 6 things and say, if you do these 6 things, we'll fund the government. If not, F you. Shut this
yep,
shit down. Shut it down. I think we need strikes because look, this country worships money. The religion of America is capitalism. The color green trumps even the color white. And that's what I said yesterday. And this went viral. And this is why Megyn Kelly and all these right wingers have been after me because this is what I said. I went viral on Twitter and on Blue Sky. Every major talent that works for ABC and Disney should refuse to show up for work until Jimmy Kimmel is reinstated. Marvel movies need to shut down. Ditto the sitcoms. Uh, Collective boycott. Corporations love money more than anything, and this will harm them and force them to do the right thing. So now on Twitter, which is a hellscape, they're like, "Do it, ha ha ha, do it. We want this. Yeah, shut down ABC. That's right, ha ha ha." And I don't care about ABC and Disney and any of these people. Right? The reason why they want to do is they want to destroy a culture. They want to destroy Hollywood so they can watch Kevin Sorbo movies and kill themselves out of boredom. But they want to just weaken all our institutions. However, if this happens, Nick, like Monday, if Robert Downey Jr. says, "I'm not showing up for Avengers Doomsday," it shuts down. Like literally, if they say we are not showing up for work until Jimmy Kimmel gets reinstated, they love money more than anything, right? Then you'll force ABC to now confront Nexstar, which wants its merger. Then that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to think strategically. Let these corporations fight against each other. Tease out the reason why I follow this, folks, is I'm teasing out the fissures in fascism, and you need to widen the fissures. There's many fissures. Everyone's looking for a haymaker. I don't think a haymaker is going to come. I'm doing death by 1,000 cuts. So another quick example, Nick. I know you got to leave. Check out Candace Owens, Cat Turd, Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson. None of them believe Kash Patel and the FBI's analysis. They're all running wild with conspiracy theories. Exploit that shit. Exploit it.
yes, exactly. And Waj, I think that's a great point to stop. And hopefully I can have you back on again soon and we can talk more about this because I want to talk about the Steve Bannon stuff in that side of the house. Um, so I know everybody knows where to find you already, but promote yourself anyways for the last moment. Um,
Tell
and
Joe. Tell Joe. I think I saw him on the street in Georgetown last week. I never go to Georgetown. I think he was crossing the street. Ask him if that was him crossing the street in Georgetown on the weekend. And secondly, tell him he retweeted my boycott thing. I
he
think
did.
we should go all in the boycott. I'm at the Left Hook. It's a lefthook.substack.com. There's no paywalls. Please become a subscriber, paid subscriber if you can. If not, free subscriber. And then I co-host Democracy Ish with Danielle Moody on the Danielle Moody YouTube channel.
Awesome. Thanks, Waz. It's been so much fun to have you, and I'll see you again soon.
Later, man.
All right. Thanks, all.